Hello, welcome to how to simplify this trigonometric expression sin of x minus cos of x plus 1 divided by sin of x plus cos of x minus 1. First of all, we represent these two terms sin of x plus cos of x as a single term like this: sin of x minus cos of x plus 1 divided by sin of x plus cos of x. We represent this as single term minus 1. Now we multiply and divide this expression by the conjugate of this denominator. We get the conjugate of this expression by changing this negative sign into positive sign. We multiply this expression by the conjugate of this denominator, sin of x plus cos of x. We change this negative sign into positive sign 1, and we divide this expression by sin of x plus cos of x plus 1. Now we multiply the numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator like this. We write this expression first: sin of x minus cos of x plus 1, and multiply by this expression sin of x plus cos of x. Now we write this expression without parentheses plus 1 divided by. Now we multiply this denominator by this denominator. We consider this expression sin of x plus cos of x as a and this term 1 as b, and we consider this sin of x plus cos of x as a and this one as b. And according to algebraic identity, a minus b times a plus b is equal to a square minus b square. This sin of x plus cos of x minus 1 times sin of x plus cos of x plus 1 is equal to the square of first term, sin of x plus cos of x whole square, minus the square of the second term, 1 square. Next, now we multiply this expression sin of x minus cos of x plus 1 by this expression sin of x plus cos of x plus 1. This sin of x times this sin of x, sin square x, and this sin of x times this cos of x plus sin of x times cos of x, and this sin of x times this plus 1 plus sin of x. Now this negative cos of x times this sin of x minus sin of x times cos of x, and this negative cos of x times this positive cos of x minus cos square x, and this negative cos of x times this plus 1 minus cos of x. Now we multiply this plus 1 by these three terms: 1 time this sin of x plus sin of x, and plus 1 time this plus cos of x plus cos of x, and plus 1 time this plus 1 plus 1. Divided by we take the square of this sine of x plus cos of x according to algebraic identity a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. According to this identity, this sine of x plus cos of x whole square is equal to sine square x plus 2 times sine of x times cos of x plus cos square x minus 1 square is equal to 1. Next, this positive sine of x times cos of x will be cancelled with this negative sine of x times cos of x, and this negative cos of x will be cancelled with this positive cos of x, and here we have left this sine square x, this plus 1 time sine of x plus this 1 time sine of x plus 2 times sine of x, and this negative cos square x, and this plus 1 divided by this expression sine square x plus 2 times sine of x times cos of x plus cos square x minus 1. There is a trigonometric identity that sine square x plus cos square x is equal to 1, and if we move this plus cos square x to the right side, we get sine square x is equal to 1 minus cos square x. So we replace this 1 minus cos square x into this sine square x is equal to, we write this sine square x first, sine square x plus 2 times sine of x plus 2 times sine of x, and we replace this negative cos square x plus 1 with this sine square x plus sine square x divided by, now if we multiply both sides of this equation by negative 1, we multiply this equation by negative 1, we get that negative sine square x is equal to cos square x minus 1. So in the denominator we replace this cos square x minus 1 with this negative sine square x. We write these two terms first, sine square x plus 2 times sine of x times cos of x, and we replace this cos square x minus 1 with this negative sine square x, negative sine square x. Next, this sine square x plus this sine square x, 2 times sine square x plus this 2 times sine x, 2 times sine of x divided by, this positive sine square x will be cancelled with this negative sine square x, and in the denominator we have left this plus 2 times sine of x times cos of x, 2 times sine of x times cos of x. Next, now from here we can factor out this 2 times in bracket left sine square x plus sine of x divided by 2 times sine of x times cos of x. Next, this 2 will be cancelled with this 2, and here we have left sine square x plus sine of x divided by sine of x times cos of x. Next, we write this single fraction into two partial fractions. Sine square x divided by sine of x times cos of x plus this sine of x divided by sine of x times cos of x. Next, this sine of x will be cancelled with this square because we have sine of x times sine of x here, and this sine of x will be cancelled with this sine of x, and here we have left 1. So here left sine of x over cos of x plus 1 over cos of x. Next, sine of x over cos of x is equal to tan of x, and 1 over cos of x is equal to secant of x. So we write this expression as tan of x plus secant of x. This is the final answer.